Most people think they're failing because they're lazy. They think they lack discipline. They think they're missing motivation. That belief is convenient because it keeps the real system invisible. You are not lazy. You are operating exactly how the environment trained you to operate. And once you understand that, something changes because you stop blaming yourself and you start seeing the cage. The system doesn't crush people through force anymore. It doesn't need to. It trains behavior. From the moment you wake up, everything around you is optimized for one outcome. Predictability, predictable workers, predictable consumers, predictable attention, predictable exhaustion. The system doesn't want you energized. It wants you tired enough to comply, but functional enough to produce. That's the balance. You wake up already behind. Your phone tells you what matters before your mind does. Notifications, news, messages, noise. Before you've made a single conscious decision, your attention has already been spent. That's not an accident. Attention is the first resource the system extracts because whoever controls attention controls behavior. When your attention is fragmented, your decisions become reactive. When your decisions are reactive, your life becomes manageable. And manageable people don't escape. You're told to work harder, wake up earlier, grind more, push through. But notice something. No one ever tells you to step back and redesign the game you're playing. They just tell you to play faster. That's because speed without direction benefits the system, not you. Busy people don't question the rules. Exhausted people don't redesign their lives. Overstimulated people don't build leverage. They cope. They scroll. They vent. They buy small comforts to offset large dissatisfaction. That's containment. The modern system isn't built on chains. It's built on feedback loops, work, stress, consume, distract, repeat. And every loop feels normal because everyone around you is doing the same thing. When everyone is stuck feels like reality. Here's the part that matters. The system does not need you to fail. It needs you to plateau. Failure creates disruption. Plateau creates permanence. As long as you make just enough money, just enough progress, just enough comfort, you won't revolt. You'll adapt. You'll rationalize. You'll say things like, this is just how life is. I'll figure it out later. Once things calm down, I'll focus, but things never calm down. The noise never stops. The demands never end. The pressure just reshapes itself. And every year that passes, the cost of change feels higher. That's not coincidence. Time pressure is a containment tool. The older you get, the more obligations stack. Rent, bills, relationships, reputation, routine. The system doesn't need to lock you in. It waits until you lock yourself in. Then it reinforces the lock with fear. Fear of starting over, fear of instability, fear of being judged, fear of losing what you already have. That fear keeps people loyal to lives they secretly resent. Here's something uncomfortable. Most people aren't underpaid, they're under-leveraged. They trade hours instead of building systems. They trade effort instead of owning outcomes. And effort is the easiest thing to exploit. Effort looks noble. Effort looks virtuous. Effort looks like progress. But effort without leverage just makes you tired. The system loves effort because effort scales poorly. You can only work so many hours. You can only push so hard. You can only sacrifice so much. Meanwhile, systems scale infinitely. That's why the biggest gap in society isn't intelligence, it's structure. Some people are taught to build leverage early, others are taught to earn permission. Permission to rest, permission to live, permission to matter. And permission-based living creates dependency. If you need permission to slow down, you'll never speed up. If you need permission to change direction, you'll never escape momentum. If you need permission to win, you'll always feel guilty when you do. The system rewards obedience, not independence. That's why school teaches compliance, not curiosity. That's why jobs reward reliability, not innovation. That's why creativity is encouraged only when it's monetizable for someone else. You're allowed to be creative, just not disruptive. You're allowed to dream, just not act too fast. You're allowed to succeed, just not outside approved lanes. And when someone breaks out, the system reframes it as luck. That way, you don't study the method, you dismiss the possibility. Luck is another containment word, because if success is random, effort feels safe. And if effort feels safe, you won't question leverage. Here's the truth: the system is not broken, it's calibrated. It produces exactly what it's designed to produce. A small percentage of owners, a large percentage of workers, a distracted middle that believes it's temporarily behind instead of structurally delayed. That belief keeps people hopeful. Hopeful people stay compliant. But hope without strategy is a trap. Real freedom doesn't come from working harder. It comes from reducing dependency. Dependency on time, dependency on approval, dependency on singular income, dependency on attention drains. Every dependency is a leash. The system doesn't yank the leash. It just keeps it short. You can move. You just can't go far. Most people feel this instinctively. They feel the ceiling, they feel the friction, they feel the resistance when they try to change, and they internalize it as personal failure. It's not, it's design. Once you see that, something important happens. You stop asking, what's wrong with me? And you start asking, what incentives am I trapped inside? That question is dangerous because incentives reveal structure, and structure reveals exits. The people who escape don't rebel loudly, they withdraw quietly, they stop feeding attention into systems that drain them, they stop trading time for validation, they stop chasing metrics that don't compound, they build quietly, they simplify ruthlessly, they reduce exposure to noise, they design their days intentionally, they protect their energy, they focus on assets, not appearances. That's not laziness, that's precision. The system wants you busy, escapers want you effective. And effectiveness looks boring from the outside. No constant posting, no constant flexing, no constant announcement, just quiet momentum. That's why most people miss it. They think nothing is happening until suddenly something has happened. Freedom doesn't announce itself, it compounds silently. Here's the uncomfortable part. If you're stuck, it's not because you're weak, it's because you're still playing by rules you didn't choose. Rules about time, rules about money, rules about success timelines, rules about what's realistic. The system defines realistic. Escapers redefine possible. And the moment you start redefining, resistance appears. People question you, doubt you, warn you, not because they want to hurt you, but because your movement threatens their stillness. If you escape, it forces them to confront why they didn't. So they'll say things like, be careful, don't rush, that's risky. Just be patient. Patience is useful when you're compounding, it's deadly when you're contained. The system loves patience because patience delays disruption. Urgency breaks patterns, not reckless urgency, strategic urgency. The urgency to build leverage before obligations harden. The urgency to reclaim attention before habits calcify. The urgency to design systems while you still have flexibility. This window doesn't last forever. That's another containment layer people don't talk about. Opportunity shrinks with comfort. Discomfort creates exits. Comfort seals them. That's why most people only change when pain becomes unbearable. But by then, the cost is higher. The smartest move is early exit before burnout, before resentment, before bitterness. Not escape from work, escape from dependency. Work never disappears, it transforms. You stop working to survive, you start working to scale. That's the shift. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. You realize your exhaustion wasn't random. Your frustration wasn't weakness. Your restlessness wasn't laziness, it was awareness knocking. Most people ignore it. They numb it. They drown it in distraction. Others listen. They simplify. They focus. They build leverage quietly. And slowly the system loses its grip. Not because they fought it, but because they stopped feeding it. That's the real exit. Not rebellion, redirection, not quitting, repositioning, not motivation, structure. The system only works while you play your assigned role. The moment you redesign your role, everything changes. And that's when freedom stops being a fantasy and starts becoming a byproduct.